morning, students. Last class we have discussed about differential calculus. So the differential calculus is used to find out the slope of a curve at a point. Today we are going to discuss about integral calculus. This integral calculus is used to find out the area under the curve. For certain geometrical shapes, we can find out the area directly. For example, if I take this geometrical shape, so let the initial position is A and the final position is B. That is, for example, if the object is here, I am applying force. What will happen? I am applying a constant force so that the object moves from A to the position B. Now, how to find out area under this curve? So, since this geometrical shape is in the regular form, that is regular shape, that is it is in the form of a rectangle, I can write directly the area of a rectangle is what? Length into breadth. Here, which one is length? This force will give the length. And what is breadth? The displacement from A that will displace to B. That is, displacement means what? Final position minus initial position. So I can write B minus C. So in this way, we can find out the area of a regular shape. Suppose if I am having an irregular shape. Now, this one is the initial position, that is B, and this one is the final position, B. Now, how to find out the area for this irregular shape? By using integral calculus, we can find out the area of an irregular shape. Now, for this geometrical shape, how to find out the area? What I will be doing, just you divide this area into equal space, that is the width must be equal. The width must be equal. So, I am dividing this area into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strips. Now, this is area of delta A1, that is this is A2, this is delta A3. This one is delta A4 and this one is delta A5. Now, if I want to find out the area of this curve, if I add all these areas, it will give the total area of this curve. That is A is equal to delta A1 plus delta A2 plus delta A3 plus delta A4 plus delta A5. Whether this total area will be accurate, we will check it. So, area is nothing but what? Length into breadth. Here, the breadth, let us consider is delta x. From 0, the initial position is x, and this will be delta x. So, for each one, the breadth is delta x. Similarly, for this rectangle, let us consider the length is y1. For this rectangle, the length is y2. For this rectangle, the length is y3. And this rectangle is y4. And this one is y5. Let it be. So, what I can write here? The area y1 into delta x plus y2 into delta x plus y3 into delta x plus y4 into delta x plus y5 into delta x. So, in general, I can write summation of y I delta x I tends to, that is, starts from 1 up to 5. If I add these values, that will give the total area, whether the total area is accurate or not. Now you itself have a doubt that this is A, so B. I am making a rectangle here. Now see, the width is delta x for B. But see the length, whether this length is equal to this length? No, this length is greater. So here also the same thing here. Then how this area will be accurate? Because the length of each strip varies. So up to this, the length is equal. That is, from here to this, if it is 5 centimeter, means here also up to this it is 5 centimeter. Then what happened for this small area? So we are calculating up to this, but we are not calculating this area. So we can't be able to get it accurately. So it's like that. See. So these areas are missing in this calculation. Then how to find out accurate area? So what we can do is, we can reduce the thickness of delta x. That is, we can make more number of strips. So if I take this one, just to see, I am making it more number of strips. So like that. So if I am taking more number of small strips, that is delta x tends to 0. Now you see the area is very small. So if I make n number of strips, in this, if I make n number of strips, then I can find out the area accurately. Okay, that is, I can write A is equal to summation of isl1 n yi delta x. So when compared to this area, this rectangle, this I can be able to get it somewhat accurately. But to get accurate answer, accurate area, what I can do is, this n, this number of strips, tends to infinity. When this n tends to infinity, automatically this delta x, this area becomes very small, and I can write it as dx. Here, now if I add these things, that summation. So if I add 5 strips means like this. Suppose if I am adding n number of strips, the summation becomes like this. If I am adding infinity number of strips, it becomes what? The summation becomes what? Integration. Understood? So these are the 3 important things to find out the area under the curve. Okay, so now I can write A is equal to integral of this summation part. When n tends to infinity, then I can write summation of y, the delta x becomes very small, so it becomes dx from A to B. Understood? This y, even I can write it as f of x dx. In this way, we can find out the area under the curve. For example, let us take a geometrical shape figure. It is displacement, here it is force. So displacement is independent and force is a dependent one. Now, I want to find out the area under this curve. So how to find out the area under this curve? This force into displacement. Force into displacement will give what? Work done. Force into displacement will give what? Work done. This is nothing but what? The area under this curve. So I can tell the area under force displacement graph is nothing but work. So work is equal to integral of a to b f of x dx. Now let us consider another example. Velocity, time. So here time is independent, velocity is dependent. Now I want to find out the area under this curve. So velocity into time. Velocity into time will give the area. So how I can write this velocity? Displacement by time into time. So this time and time cancel. So that is displacement. So velocity into time is nothing but what? Displacement. Clear? So I can tell the area under velocity time graph is displacement. Next example. I want to find out the area under this curve. Here is force and this one is time. So time is independent, force is dependent. So force into time. Force into time reduce the area under this curve, and that is nothing but impulse. That is nothing but impulse. So I can write impulse, it starts from 0 and let it be P1. Impulse is equal to 0 to P1 f of t dt. These are all some of the examples to find out the area under the curve. So we have discussed already that kinematics has two parts. One is motion in a straight line, the other one is motion in a plane. This motion in a straight line is otherwise called as motion in one dimension or motion in a rectilinear motion. Now let us consider a graph, displacement time graph. Displacement time graph, and it has a function y is equal to t square. Now we find out the value for t and y. T, y, when t is equal to 0, what will be the y? Y will also be 0. When t is equal to 2, y will be equal to 4. When t is equal to 3, y will be equal to 3 square, 3 3s are 9. Now you plot this in the graph 0. So 0 comma 0. Next 2 comma 4. 2 comma 4 and 3 comma 9. So now you plot this graph 3 comma 9. So this position is, let it be generally T1, and this position is T2. This one will be x1 and this one is x2. Now within this time interval, what is the change in the position or what is the change in the displacement? How I can write change in displacement? Change in displacement by time interval. Change in displacement by time interval. What is change in displacement? Delta x. I can write delta x. Time interval, change in time interval, delta t. This is nothing but what? Slope. So slope is equal to what? Change in time displacement by time interval. This how I can write x2 minus x1 by t2 minus t1. Here, what is x1? What is x1? 2. Here t1 is what? 2. And here x1 is what? 4. And t2 is 3. And here x2 is what? 9. Now you see x2 is what? 9 minus x1 is 4. t2 is what? 3 minus 2. So 5 by 1. This is meter. This one is what? Second. So I can write what? 5 meter per second. What? This unit, meter per second, is for which physical quantity? The unit is? This is nothing but what? Velocity. This unit is for velocity. So I can write velocity is nothing but what? Change in displacement by time interval. This velocity occurs within this time interval, so I can call it as average velocity. I can call it as average velocity. So it has been represented by V average vector. That has been represented by V average vector. So we know that velocity is a vector quantity. Velocity is a vector quantity. Vector quantity means it has both magnitude as well as direction. Since we are discussing about motion in one dimension, there will be only two directions. One is positive direction, the other one is negative direction. So I can call it as positive average velocity and negative average velocity. Clear? Now, we take this graph. It is displacement time graph. Now, whether this displacement time graph is what? Average velocity. Whether this graph is positive average velocity or negative average velocity. The slope of this graph will give average velocity. Since that is a formula to find out the slope. Slope is equal to what? Tan theta. Here, theta is less than 90 degree. Theta is less than 90 degree. If theta is less than 90 degree means it is acute angle. Therefore, the value is positive. So I can call this graph as positive average velocity. Positive average velocity. Suppose if I take this graph, so displacement time graph. Now, if the graph is like this, Now, whether it is positive average velocity or negative average velocity, always we will take the positive x-axis for making the angle. So here the angle is greater than 90 degree. So slope is equal to tan theta. Here theta is greater than 90 degree. If it is greater than 90 degree means what? Obtuse. Obtuse means it is negative. The value becomes negative. So therefore this graph will give negative average velocity. Negative average velocity. Suppose if I take this graph, that is displacement, time, and my graph is like this. So in this, as time changes, velocity, that is displacement, is constant. There is no change in the displacement. That means what? The object is at rest. There is no change in the position of the object. Clear? So I can call this average velocity is what? Is 0. The average velocity is 0. Understood? Next, we will see average speed. For example, let us take our Indian cricket team. For 20 overs, they took 400 runs. What will be the average run rate? How to find? It is 400 divided by 20. So it gives the average run rate is 20. This 400 is what? Total distance traveled or total distance covered or total path length. Then right? Total path length. I can even call total distance covered. This 20 is nothing but what? Total time taken, or I can write total time period. This is nothing but average speed. So average speed is what? Total path length divided by total time period. So average speed is a scalar quantity. So it shows only magnitude, it gives only the magnitude but no direction. Next we will see an example 2.25. A particle moves along the x-axis in such a way that its coordinate x varies with time. So x varies with time. X varies with time. T, according to the equation, what is the initial velocity of the particle? So, given x is equal to what? 2 minus 5t plus 6t square. What we have to find? Initial velocity. So solution. So x is equal to 2 minus 5t plus 6t square. Here x varies with time. So x varies with time. So x varies with time means I will be writing it as what? Dx by dt. So we know that displacement by time is nothing but what? Velocity. So I can write v is equal to d by dt of x value. So 2 minus 5t plus 6t square. Now you differentiate this. If I differentiate a constant, it becomes 0 minus 5. If I differentiate t, 1 plus 6 into 2. 2, 12, t, 2 minus 1, 1. So velocity is minus 5 plus 12t. At initial velocity, time will be equal to 0. So therefore v is equal to, initial velocity is equal to minus 5 plus 12 into, instead of t I will put 0. So it is minus 5 meter per second. So initial velocity is equal to minus 5 meter per second. This minus indicates the particle moves in negative direction. Understood?